Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 13 of the anime series Myriad Colors Phantom World. For all intents and purposes, the season finale. And as finales goes, this was actually pretty freaking badass. Seeing all the characters, all our main cast coming together, utilizing their powers to take down the threat, and how Haruhiko subsequently gets his powers back. It's actually pretty spectacular, if a little weird, I gotta admit. Determining that he and Ruru are kind of twins and, related in that way. It's just a little odd. But I was actually kind of felt it was odd starting the episode because I actually hadn't been cognizant of how much time was passed, and seeing Haru up and about even though he's missing his abilities, and in contrast to that his mother is very much comatose in bed in this Aleyashiki hospital, and it's very much a sort of guessing game for the main characters as to what can make things better. They don't know if hunting down Enigma and sealing her once and for all will actually return things to normal. It's just kind of the hope. And it's very much left to Koito because, you have that device that surfaced very early in the series and then kind of disappeared for a while, and Haruhiko has been toying with over the last couple of episodes. Ever since this thing first debuted, I'm pretty sure was mentioning my thoughts that it's like fairly ominous, this device, the vibe they're giving it, like there's some kind of bad news with this thing. And of course it comes to fruition with Koito realizing there's some kind of information Aleyashiki is keeping under wraps, and she is the one who very sort of predominantly goes to Haruhiko and is like, where's this device, we got to use it, and everything like that. And even after weeks of Haru toying with this thing, all we have is Kurumi using Albrecht as Uber Hacker Bear to unlock this thing, fix and unlocks this thing within minutes. And then they have all the information they need, essentially, about this hybridization, these scientific experiments going on in the Aleyashiki Syndicate, whatever it is, where they are splicing human DNA with captured phantoms and trying, effectively, it's that age-old thing about trying to create the ultimate super soldier in military applications and all these kinds of covert ops and whatever like that, whatever they can exploit these phantoms that they hybridize to those ends. And of course they've been keeping that all under wraps, and they even have a case file on Haruhiko and Ruru respectively for some reason, but of course our team clashes finally with Enigma in this episode, being led by the crazy driving sensei, I might add, which I wondered how much involvement she was going to have, if she was going to actually step up to the plate and get in, involved in the battle as well. But no, she wasn't. She was just kind of the chauffeur, getting everyone where they needed to be. And you even had the left curve, sort of with Haruhiko trying to be Mr. Badass, and of course he's immediately called on it by Mai, which I loved. I love that they didn't do that cliche where he's like, gotta be the one to save the day because he was the one who had the powers taken from him. It is well and truly a group effort by the end. Of course, we see that smooch between he and Ruru because, of course, Sensei, she's been observing them and she figures they're linked, and it answers a lot of the speculations I've had, as I've talked about in previous episodes as well, episode discussion videos, that there has to be something more to the relationship between Ruru and, Haruhiko. And I love that it calls back to this book that is from his childhood. It was his favorite book. It's something that immediately ties to his mother. It's all on a very personal level for Haruhiko, and we realize that Ruru was kind of, as I've speculated, she was the answer to the absence of his mother and his father, who was off, roving the world for his occupation. His mother left, married another man. I'm glad that Haru actually got to meet this other guy and sit down and talk to him and really gain the realization that, this wasn't just solely a product of Enigma's ruse, that his mother really did want to get back into contact with him, but she felt it wasn't her rightful place. And so we basically have this emotional core at the center of Haru, and everyone else is getting involved. You basically have both Koito using her, sort of sonic powers. You have Reina using her sealing powers, both of which keep Enigma at bay. Then you have Mai coming in and throwing down up against her. And once this smooch has taken effect between Haru and Ruru respectively, he has regained his powers through her because she is somewhat of a duplicate of him. So she has those powers, but they are like, uber personified nuclear style in this episode. They nuke the hell as I've been going back and forth with one of you guys, out of Enigma. You know, he summons Cthulhu and whatever the other one, you know, that I've called the Kid Icarus dog, and they are gigantic beasts. You know, they level Enigma, and then Enigma is effectively crystallized and destroyed by Mai. Mai gets that last shot in to just completely, you know, turn to dust, this crystallization. And I love the words shared between Enigma and Haruhiko. You know, I enjoyed spending time with you. And he says, so did I. And, but again, it's stemming off of that loss of his mother and feeling just wishing he could be with her again. And that's a mutual interest on their parts that we see toward the end of the episode. They are reunited, and it comes full circle with that realization that, hey, that book that calls back to my earliest memories, you know, fondest memories of my mother, that she would read me and everything, and she kept all these years just to keep up a mental link with her own son. And on that picture book is a little fairy sort of, you know, embodying Ruru. And so it all comes full circle. And we see everyone back together at the end in the classroom, vowing to take on the next possible, you know, case or whatever it is, whatever phantom is going to be roving. I would love to see another season of this where we are dealing with harder core phantoms, a product of the Aoyashiki hybridization, and seeing our main cast of characters having to get more creative and more powerful and train more and study harder to really go after them. I don't know if there's any chance of that happening, frankly, but it would be something I would definitely be on board for. In talking to one of you guys, I have loved the conversations with all of you guys about this series and others, but talking about a Ruru spin-off series is something I wish so desperately we could have, like a sort of Sherlock mystery solving kind of thing, as I've talked about. MG, you know, my boy. Just so much, you know, in potential is this show. There's so much possibility, so much potential. Anything could be, you know, done and explored in a series like this. And, you know, the sky's the limit. I would love to see more, basically. Loved the series. I had a very sort of shaky early going in the series where I didn't like Haruhiko from right off the bat. I thought he was kind of just in the way and annoying. And eventually I warmed to him when I realized there was more depth to his character and his loneliness and his basically becoming friends with Mai and Koito and Reina and everything like that. How he reached out to Reina, you know, at one point where she was almost going to give in and sort of wander off with these phantoms who you know, proposed to her a better life than the one she had at home, until she was able to find friendship with the group and everything like that. And Koito opening up, Mai sort of softening up in a way because she was very much brass tacks and tough as nails in the early going. Just the evolutions of all these characters. And of course, Ruru, the mascot, at the center of all. And Albrecht just being all kinds of badass for a teddy bear. It's like I said, I want to see a freaking, you know, sort of Pacific Rim battle with Albrecht in a future episode if we ever get another season. But so yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of the series on whole, what you thought of this particular finale. Love it or hate it, anything goes in the comments below. Just love having that conversation. Thorough win for me though. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.